What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today when I talk to you about Virgin Galactic, ticker is SPCE. I want to give you a good overview of what to expect from it going into next week, what might cause it a little bit more volatility, what the data points are saying, and where things might be going from here. Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So based on Friday, it did go down 0.27%, had a little bit more of a negative momentum near the tail end of the day, which is very unfortunate. As well, you can clearly tell just the volume has not been there for Virgin. So it hasn't really gone that big rush that was anticipated, especially after their first inaugural flight, which kind of is weird. And on a side note, I would have also assumed a lot more analysts would have jumped on board other than just the one Bank of America, which unfortunately did give a sell rating at a $3 price target. But still, who knows, that might be coming down the line. But of course, like I mentioned at the time, I think it has to do with maybe it was more of a research kind of test flight equivalently versus celebrity driven. Who knows? That obviously might be a factor. But at the time of doing this video, there has been no SEC filings, no press releases other than my last update. So of course, over the last little bit, it's just been merely following the broader market and the sentiment. So once again, just let you know about that. So I'll go over some of the data points, but starting off going into next week, there's only one real big economic data that is coming out, data point, and that is on Wednesday. So good old CPI is back at it. Based on the forecast, it is anticipated to go down. So if that is true, then you never know. The broader market, including Virgin, could go on a very good rally over the next little bit. But of course, I am not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. But as far as any news coming out from Virgin, nothing is anticipated as of right now. So once again, just letting you know about that. But based on the options activity, so this is the options activity that did happen from Friday. There was $730,000 in calls being purchased versus $817,000 in puts being purchased. So based on this, it does seem that people are anticipating it to still trend down. But as I've said in the past, options activity does not move the stock price. It's just merely a sentiment. And looking at this only shows calls, so clearly an optimistic viewpoint. This is all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this, it is anticipated to go between the $3.50 and $4 range by next week per se. But again, this is just the sentiment, bullish sentiment, of course. And as far as this, so this is all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market, and there hasn't been any since the 6th. So kind of weird, but like I've mentioned, clearly just the volume has not been there for Virgin. So a lot of long positions aren't being made, and it's just most likely being traded by shorts. And because, as you can see, these are all the transactions that did occur on the 7th, meaning Friday, on the dark pool. And dark pool is typically used by shorts. So as you can see right here, I'll give you guys a quick overview of what shorts is and what they are doing going into next week. So right now, short score is currently 78, utilization is 89.61%, and shorts as of Friday did return 205.17 thousand shares. 27.1% of the free float is being shorted, and that works out to be 62.56 million shares. So the fact that 27% of the free float is being shorted is kind of extreme in my opinion, and I do feel that once they do start to have more and more flights, so I think the next one is anticipated in August, but once they do start to kick that off, hopefully shorts will start to kind of exit in their own accord, because any company that starts to generate revenue, this is a little bit more of a fearful time for shorts. But until then, they're going to kind of be the main game in the grand scheme of things. And the fact is though, if you kind of look at this data and how you interpret that, based on them returning some shares and it going red for the tail end of the day, that does show that they feel it's a little bit more of an overreaction. So once again, giving it justification, maybe things might be turning up, who knows? But as well, looking right here, cost to borrow has gone up quite a lot over the last little bit. So the average being 8.63%. And there is signs of manipulation when it comes down to Virgin. As you can see, cost to borrow minimum is negative. So there is a broker out there that is basically paying people negative 0.24% to short Virgin Galactic. So definitely a lot of interesting things happening behind the scenes. But when it comes down to it though, what are the data points truly saying? So Stochastic is currently at 5. So once again, if CPI or the company itself comes out with some positive news, then Virgin can go up very fast, as we know it can. But looking at the momentum indicator, number of retail investors were getting in on Friday. So of course, I think that's good that they see a lot of value in at these prices. But at the same time, clearly there's a lot of posts out there, just a lot of frustration. The fact that they are diluting near the lows, all-time lows equivalently, and just the fact that I guess it's just not gone the way people wanted. Even in my own opinion, who isn't, like I said, a financial advisor, I did personally feel after their first flight, this would have ran up significantly. But funny thing is, it didn't do anything. So kind of weird, but still, no matter what though, looking here, so $3.67. As far as some of the FIB levels, it is currently trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $3.43 is that next big support that you want to watch for, vice versa, $4.48. So the fact that it is such a wide gap does show that there's going to be most likely a lot of volatility in its future. And as well, looking at the actual chart, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band and below the 50-day moving average. And typically when Virgin does break above this 50-day moving average, it goes up quite aggressively. So those are some points to really watch for. Like I said, I do feel that if CPI is positive, then this is where you could easily see it getting back to around the $5 range. In my own opinion, which based on a 1 week kind of change, is a pretty good return, especially looking at here as well. I'll give you guys a quick overview of that. I do feel it's at a pretty substantial discount because Morningstar, I think this came out on Thursday, does show Virgin's fair market value being $6.84. So once again, the fact that it's trading in the threes is just completely crazy. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying, selling, holding? What is your take, for instance, on Virgin? And do you think that it's going to see highs this week or potentially go back down into maybe the low threes? What's your take on that? In addition to that, if you do like a lot of this information, so analyst ratings, forecast, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments. And finally, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And this promo also has been extended up until July the 15th. So this has been a very, very popular one. All you have to do, sign up for a free account. You get 1 free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Throw $100 at the account, you get 5 free stocks plus a $100 cash reward. So this is legitimately a win-win. Link in the description below and also the comments. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's eventually make a lot of money on Virgin Galactic.